So I just want to know a little bit about you, your family, history, just anything you're willing to share with us.
Yeah, so I'm actually from Waco. I live in Lorena right now. We've been there since 2003. I just celebrated my 50th birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And I've had my compromised lungs since 2015. I had smoked, just to be clear, and I think this is an important point to make, but I had smoked for 21 years, regular cigarettes. So when my vaping injury occurred, I really wasn't sure what caused it, whether it was vaping or just smoking, and so it led me to investigate, figure out what was wrong and what had happened because of the way it happened. And we'll talk about that in a minute. It was very sudden. But I had a history of smoking, and I think that's an important point because sometimes we know that damage to lungs can occur from smoking cigarettes. And the interesting part was upon further investigation, they found that, in fact, none of that was my case. It wasn't the cigarette smoke. Oddly enough, my lungs looked remarkably good. Dr. Rodney Ritchie here in Waco, I think he's since retired, I'm pretty sure he has, looked at them and said, I believe the exact quote was, these are unremarkable. And I said, well, what does that mean, Dr. Ritchie? He said, I don't see any damage. I don't see what would cause your breathing difficulty. And so about 10, 11 specialists later, right, we had gone to a number of specialists, my wife by my side the whole way. And that's when they uncovered that there was some damage to my lungs deep down internally that the typical x-rays wouldn't show. This is now going on into January. I see a doctor in Dallas, my specialist to this day, and he says, I think it's vaping because your lungs look really good, but deep down inside there's some significant damage, and I don't know why. We need to do a biopsy. So they go in basically through an incision, I believe, in my back, and they removed out 5% of my lung. I can't breathe, and now they're cutting my lung out, right? So not a good situation to be in. And they observe the whatever that they cut out, the tissue, and they said that it looks indicative of what they call inhalation injury. That means something I inhaled into my body destroyed my bronchioles deep down inside my lungs. There is no black tar in my lungs. There's no at all significant damage whatsoever in my lungs from years of smoking cigarettes. What it was an inhalation injury. And that's basically like some toxin that you inhale. So I'm like devastated that, now they're thinking that vaping is what caused my injury. I was thinking it was my years of smoking cigarettes. My doctor makes an off-the-cuff comment, you'd almost been better to just smoke cigarettes. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't believe we're even saying this out loud, right? Because this doesn't happen. What they did was research, and they found there were 16 different lung irritants in my vaping liquid. 16 different lung irritants. This is the #1 lung hospital in the country, National Jewish Health Hospital. 16 different lung irritants. I asked which one did this to my lungs. They said there's no way to know. The science isn't there yet. We need more people to get sick.
So you've had kids that have grown up through Lorena. How would you address peer pressuring and go about talking about vaping towards high school age students? Because I know that it's a really big deal, not only in Lorena but within the high school community itself. And how would you, as someone that's lived through it, go and talk to kids about it?
I worry because I too smoked cigarettes because my friends smoked cigarettes. And I see now how it worked out for me. I know that I hate it when people say, well, kids know, but they're still going to do what the kids are going to do. I can't, that bothers me. All I can do is I think there's some there's an impact that you get when you see somebody you know local, right? I am Lorena, right? I live in Lorena. My family resides in Lorena. And I haven't made any money off this. I haven't written a book, though I should. I haven't written a book. I don't take speaking fees to go anywhere. None of that stuff. I just want people to see me and to know that at 45 years old, a guy who could run on a treadmill and was very active, suddenly, within a period of a few weeks, now I can't even do a mile in 20 minutes hardly. I mean, my whole life is flipped suddenly because of my choice for vaping. The best advice that I think I could give is do your research, do your homework. You know, if you're going to vape, at least be intelligent about it and do your homework. I would encourage you not to. I would encourage you to speak to your family physician first and foremost. That's what I would say. Because I can tell you addiction is real. I struggle with it. And when I said that vaping is what caused this, let's be real. My choice to smoke cigarettes led me to having to vape to quit smoking cigarettes. Had I never smoked cigarettes, I would be breathing just fine today. That was my poor decision. Know that your poor decision may affect your life as well. And this isn't something that, oh, it's not going to happen to me. I'm a local product and it happened to me.
You mentioned about COVID and how you were higher risk. Can you just talk about how COVID has affected you the way you've lived your life? Because I know it's affected everybody, but for you, I can't even imagine.
You know, and this is kind of sad to say, but to be honest with you, almost every day of my life is COVID, right? Yeah. I mean, here's the deal. I'm operating right now like 20% lung function, about 24% to be exact. One bout of pneumonia, one bout of the flu, bronchitis, certainly COVID. I probably won't survive it. And we're pretty certain. I mean, we don't know until you go through it, but anything that would compromise my ability to breathe when you're already at the very border. When your numbers fall below 20%, you're often eligible for a lung transplant. And what people don't realize about lung transplants, it's not like a kidney. Once you get a lung transplant, the clock starts ticking. You have about 5 years on average to live. Some people last 10, 15 years. Some people die immediately. So the average is around 5 years for most area hospitals. So that's about how long you would live. And so every day for me has been COVID since I got sick. That said, this does add an added layer of anxiety and worry for me, my wife, my family. Peyton suffered. He's one of very few Lorena students, is my understanding, in the high school, wandering the halls, that wears his mask all the time. And he does it because he knows if he brings it home, I die. Can you imagine being a child knowing that you might have a hand in your dad's death? So he's my hero. He's my hero. I wish there was one thing I could say that would make such an impact that people would choose just not to vape. I do hope that I didn't come across as somebody said, oh, if you vape, you're going to die or get sick. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is anytime you make a choice to do something, you need to be aware of the consequences of it.